everyone. I'm so excited that you have joined me again for Girl Chat. It's April, and I am incredibly excited about my guest for today. We have had some really good conversations this year, and this month is going to be just as good. So I'm really excited to welcome Niche Caldwell to Girl Chat. Hi, Niche.
Hi.
I'm going to give Niche an opportunity to introduce herself to y'all, and we're going to jump right into our topic. So Niche, introduce yourself to the girls.
Cool. I'm Niche Caldwell. I am a wife and a mom and a serial entrepreneur. So we have a couple of businesses under our belt and a couple of things that I run, all from this computer screen. But other than that, I am originally from Jacksonville, grew up in Philadelphia, kind of back in Jacksonville, and Petra and I met at the University of Florida, and we've kind of been Instagramming it and cheerleaders of each other ever since. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. And if you hear her little munchkins in the back, she's living the life that I live.
I'm going mute.
No, I love it. No, this is Girl Chat. The girls know. Girl Chat is raw, transparent. You get what we're given in our home.
Yeah.
That's how it's going to be. They also know that Evie may make an appearance. So
that's fine.
Right. It's going to be all good. It's going to be all good. So today, what I wanted us to talk about is how to be all the things without burning out. You've already listed some of what you do. You're a wife, you're a mom, you're a serial entrepreneur, you're a cheerleader for others, you're all of these things, you're a woman of faith, but how are you all the things without burning out, and kind of what that looks like to you? Because I know for me, I do a lot of stuff, but I have to be really, really intentional with my downtime, my quiet time. But then I find that during that downtime, that quiet time, I'm still planning for something else. I'm still working on something else. I'm not sure if that's really the most effective way of combating burnout, but I want to talk to you about what burnout is for you and how you kind of navigated through it.
I've come to realize that burnout really is just a mental block where you have forgotten why you are doing the things that you're doing. And in remembering or having a point where you've actually written down your why you started this business, why are you a mom, what are the things that you're grateful for, in reflecting on the things that possibly you've written down, you will sort of get rejuvenated. You'll get reinvigorated with your purpose,
right?
Especially in prayer, especially in exercising, or some people go crazy with exercising so that they can have that release. Because that's the reality. You do need a release. You do need a break. You can be burned out from something that you absolutely love, because those things we give ourselves to. So I've just come to realize that sometimes it's good when you get burned out, because then you can take a step back and actually you can relax. You can rest in the fact that I'm extremely tired. I've tried to quit all my businesses several times. I mean, probably once a month, I'm like, I quit. I don't want to do it. I'm done with this. I don't really want to. And that's just really, it's really a point of friction in yourself where it's like, I don't really remember why I'm doing this. And the greater picture is not, sitting with me right now. But when you think about those things, the bigger picture and where you're trying to go, your goals and all that stuff, you can kind of get reinvigorated. So I've suffered from burnout several times. I don't think I've ever hit rock bottom, and I've never actually quit anything.
Yeah.
Everything that I've started, I still either have going in some kind of form, or I have a different perspective about it. Sometimes when we face that burnout, it's time to make a pivot or a change or interject something back into it that, you hadn't maybe thought of before. So it may be an opportunity for your creativity to start coming into play too. So it's a couple things, but burnout really is really all mental.
I like that idea. I like that also means that we can control it too, right?
You can control it.
We can control it.
And you can prevent it.
That's the word. That's what I wanted you to say. Yes.
You can prevent it. You can know, like, I'm getting to that point where I don't want to be anybody's anything. I'm exhausted and I choose to quit. So before I get to the choice of quitting, let me just take a break or practice self-care in these moments, or whatever your thing is that you can fix, or you can actually control. Because that's another thing too about it is you feel like you're out of control. You feel like you don't have control either on the result or on the production of whatever it is. And when you don't have control, that's when I think you can start to feel like, okay, I'm overwhelmed. Things are like out of whack. And I'm not getting, what out of it, what I'm putting into it. And so in doing that, then go.
Oh, I love it.
That's Aiden. In doing that, you have, the ability again to prevent it, and then also to change it when you are almost there.
I love that. I think too, what I really love is when you were saying some of the things that you love or you're passionate about, you can get burnt out from them. And we think that's impossible. So it must, if we're getting burned out, then something's wrong or it's not for us or whatever. But the reality is just what you said. You pour so much of yourself into these things you love and you're passionate about. It's easy to get drained.
And it's so many areas. It's so many areas that we give to every single day. And so when you're giving yourself pieces of yourself, I listened to one of my friends from a while ago. He was saying, the kinds of people that we are, those in our circle, those who we deem as either colleagues or friends or whatever, all of us are devoted to giving 100% to whatever it is we're in at the moment. 100%. If you're giving 100% to your kids at that time, you're giving 100% to your job at this time, 100% to your husband at this time, 100. It's so many ways to give. You only have one you. It's only 100% that you have to give. And then even if you're giving 50% here and 20% here, then those things feel like they've fallen off. You're not devoting who and what you are. Really, you're not giving the service to them like you feel like. So I think having that shift of like, okay, I'm present. I know I need to be focused on my husband right now. I know I need to be focused on my kids right now. I know I need to be focused on work, can reduce the overwhelm. It can kind of quiet the noise of everything else. Like you said, when you get in a position where you are in maybe a point of rest, you're like, but what else can I be doing? What else is going on? Like I should be making a list. Something else I should be productive in some other ways. I think we all go through that, but it's really about just quieting the noise and staying present in that one slot, because you will get overwhelmed, because we're just typically those types of people who, we're challenged by success and we want to get to that, to that finish line with whatever it is.
Yeah, it's very, very easy to get caught up in that because one, I think it's a part of who we are, but I think it's also part of how we were raised.
Right. Yeah, right? I agree with that.
Idle hands, we ain't doing none of that. It's real. Like,
it's the devil's playground. How dare you sit still on a Saturday? Something needs to be cleaned or done or changed.
And it's crazy because, when you're young, you're like, man, I'm so tired of this. I'm not going to do this. And then as an adult, you're like, I'm doing this. I'm absolutely doing this. And I think that that's a part of where I'm at. Like, okay, there's so many projects that I love and that I'm doing and that I'm connecting with, but how to make sure that I'm not getting to this place of overwhelm. And so I think it's really good to remember that there's one me. And then what I'm giving to it is what I can give to it. Now, yes, there's areas that you can push yourself and you can grow in, but a lot of times we give more than what we actually have to give. I think that's half the problem, right? Like if we're properly aligning and properly setting things up the way they're supposed to be, it's not like something is going, what did you say? Going without. It's not going without, right? But you can't give 100% if you don't have 100%. Your 80 is pretty darn good.
Right. And we don't think at that time that it is. And so like the little, I don't know if it's a character or the circus performer who has all the plates spinning around. And you're just constantly like on every single stick. You're like, let me get this one up faster. Let me get this one up faster. That's what it can feel like. But when you do that, the reality is you really need to just focus on this one plate spinning right now in this moment, and then set that one down, and then pick up the other one.
That's the thing.
It's hard to do. Yeah.
It's hard to do. And what about those things that are ongoing projects? I think that's
so it's interesting, but I have learned to number one, accept help. But number two, I've learned that I can have everything. And one of my clients she's a relationship and just a life coach. One of the things she says is, and I'm sure she learned it from somebody else or it's her thing, I'm not sure, but she says it all the time, that I can have everything, but I don't have to do everything. I can have it all. I don't have to do it all. You know, I don't have to clean the house, cook dinner, do the laundry, mend clothes, be a sewer, be a giver, be a wife, be a business owner. I don't have to be the social media manager and the account manager. I don't have to do this and this and this and this. You can have all of those things,
right?
But let someone else come in and help you clean the house. If that's where you are suffering or feel like your time is literally being spent off. Like, I really don't have time to do this. I'm regretting sitting here folding laundry, which is where I am. I hate folding laundry. That's where I am. I have worked it into my budget to make sure we at least have somebody come and deep clean the house once a month.
Fair.
It does not serve me or my family to have anxiety about the fact that I'm not keeping up with a clean bathroom every week. That doesn't serve my family, and it certainly doesn't serve me, and it makes me even feel worse, instead of just saying, you know what, I've already planned for it and I've gotten it taken care of.
Yeah.
I don't have to be there. I don't have to do that. The same thing with cooking. Shamika and I, Shamika is the VP. She's my business partner on a lot of our endeavors. She has 5 children in her house. One of them is an infant still. And I'm like, girl, how do you cook dinner for these 7 people every day? I struggle.
DoorDash.
Oh gosh, I struggle with making lunch for myself. And so she and I, you know, we go through recipes, we have fun, we try to have fun with it. But the reality is, she was like, I don't cook for 7 people every single day, but she loves to cook. Okay. So that's her area of service. She's like, oh, I love being in the kitchen. If I could just do this, perfect. However, I had to encourage her too, as a mom, like, get somebody to come help you clean that house. It's 7 people in there every single day, all day. Like,
it's a lot.
Have somebody to help. It's a lot. It is a lot. So you can have it all. You just don't necessarily have to do it all.
Which is huge. And I think that it's really important that we're focusing on the mom aspect, the wife aspect, because those are the ones that are the ongoing, the ones that we actually, well, let me say, for me, I feel the most pressure from, because I'm with them all the time. And I feel like I do so much outside. If my house isn't on point, or my family's food ain't on point, I'm like, I'm screwing up. But there's a reality that you can have help there, so that you're not feeling that there's a deficit, because this is your strongest and most important ministry. But that means you need to figure out how to make it excel.
Exactly.
And that you have to pour out all the time from this place of deficit.
Yeah. And so what we did to that fact too, is my husband and I kind of sat down and was like, it probably would serve us to put these kids in aftercare. And so now we have those extra 2 hours, and sometimes we use those hours to go on a date, because we just don't have time otherwise.
Yes. It's like they know when you're talking about them. But I agree. I think that's part of like why we even consider sending our kids back to school, even after the pandemic. And, you know, people had to make the choice. Are they going to stay home for the new school year? Are they going to go in? And it really just depends on your household and your needs. But for us, we were like, yeah, we're going to get them dressed and they're going to go to school.
Absolutely. As soon as the school opened, August 12th, these kids were there. Like, it's just
bright-eyed and bushy. They're ready.
Good morning. Uniforms on. Breakfast has been eaten. Let's go. Time to go. Now, see, that was even a stretch for us too, though, because obviously you're concerned and you want to do and make the right and the best decisions. But the way that our household is set up, both of us are entrepreneurs. There is no 9-to-5 steady paycheck. And so we eat what we kill, essentially. And so if we have no time in the day when we're doing virtual school or whatever, that also means we don't make money. That also means something else is going to fall off. A bill, for instance, may not get paid because I've had to switch, you know, to taking care of an online education situation. And first of all, I'm not equipped to do.
That's the part for me.
That's not my job. And so we sat down. It was a very hard decision at the end of the day, but it also was a God decision, because I had prayed, this is crazy. I had prayed years ago, not for a pandemic, of course not, but I had prayed, like, I really want my kids to be in this school. It's a great school. It's very expensive, but it is a great opportunity for them. It's a Christian private school. I had never even considered putting my kids in private school. My point was to move in a great area so that they could go to a great public school. And we did that. We were able to do that. And then of course the schools closed. So we were like, we're in a great neighborhood, but it's 30 minutes away from that private school. It was like not even a consideration. But it wasn't until one of my girlfriends, who also is an entrepreneur and a realtor, who has her whole job is in the car. She has to be out. So she's like, there's no way I can help my second grader and my 2-year-old. And then she ended up she got pregnant during the pandemic, just had a baby. She's like, there's no way I can do like online education. They're in a great neighborhood too. Public school is like, it's an 8, 9, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So even her just mentioning like, you know what, we just gonna have to stretch and put our kids in this private school, the one that you toured, Niche. And I was like, wait, let me think. Is that the school you're not serious? You're putting them in this school? And she was like, yeah, they've been there for a couple of weeks now. It's perfect because their class size is small. So out of the entire elementary school, I'll give you, for instance, out of the entire elementary school, it's 200 kids in the whole building. Sounds like a lot, as opposed to 1,100 kids in this public school building. Over here, it's 200 kids. There are 13 kids in my daughter's class. There are 7 other kids in my son's class.
That's how Jack and Sterling are.
Yeah. They don't intermingle. They have Bible. I mean, it's no school is perfect, but for us in the situation that
it's the right fit.
It was the right fit. It was the right time. It's very expensive, but God provided. It just unfolded in that way. And I feel like sometimes we don't give ourselves the grace to have faith. Because had I said we can't afford it, we have to do something else, where will we be? I probably wouldn't have gotten some of the other contracts or done some of the other things as an entrepreneur that I was able to do if those kids were home. And that's not their fault.
No.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to put them in there and trust God that the money's going to come. And it did. We were able, we paid their tuition for the year and now we've added on to their tuition because they're in aftercare.
Isn't it nice how God works?
My point, and that's what I'm saying. My whole point to that is we struggle sometimes with ourselves, not having the faith that we are so renowned for having as Christian believers. Burnout, again, can come from just having to sit with all of that decision making all of the time when God has already given us the power and the dominion over the things that are in this earth. And you just have to call on them.
That's it. I think it's important too, that when we realize who God is to us, so having that relationship, because I love what you said, we don't give ourselves the grace to have faith, but God is the God of provision. He's the God of provision.
You know what? I don't journal much because if I journal, it ends up being like 7 pages. So I stopped.
Oh, you're also a writer. Did you add that to
I'm a writer. Yeah. Huh?
Okay. I was asking, I said, did you add that to your list in the beginning?
No, I forget. You know how sometimes people are like, do you have any secret or hidden talent? Then other than the clarinet, that then comes to my mind like, oh yeah, I write.
She got a whole book, y'all. Please.
I wrote a book. Go grab it on Amazon. I made it completely digital. It's nothing you have to like purchase and get shipped to you. It's on the Kindle. It's Abandoned House. It's fiction. I love it. It's gotten 5 stars from all the people who read it and reviewed it. So I'm happy just about that. It's not like a bestseller or anything, but it's also because I don't market it.
A whole book.
It's a book. And eventually part 2 is gonna come. Yeah. Anyhow, so I don't journal because if I sit with some ideas, it will be a short story. It won't be 2 journal prompts with a paragraph. It just won't be that. So I try to have like a quiet time and I'll sit and reflect and try to breathe deeply. Most people call it meditating. I sit in prayer. I sit with my thoughts. I don't know if it's meditating really. I don't do like the noise and like the I don't do all of that. I just sit still and and like pray, or I talk to God with my thoughts.
Right.
Anyhow, so when I think we can calm ourselves enough to really ask those questions to ourselves, right, in a safe space, I think the answers really, they scare us. And so it's like, I know that you're God, but I know that it's like a what if situation. Well, what if I do put them in there and you don't show up? You know what I mean? I think we have that hesitancy no matter what it is in any instance in our lives. And the reality is, he may tell you no. And that's sometimes what I struggle with. He may say no to your request.
Mm-hmm.
But the honest part of that is God is not a trick. It's not like, ha ha ha, I put this in you, but I'm gonna dangle it in front of you and not give it to you. That has not happened to us. But I sat with myself the other day and I really looked back like, wow, we've been entrepreneurs for 5 years.
Wow.
And I still, I cannot believe that I've been able to support myself. My husband's been able to support us with no consistent income. We don't like owe a bunch of people. It's not like we're months and months behind on bills. We're not in like dramatic debt. Our bills are, you know, in a way that is sort of like, obviously we have heat, light, water, all that kind of stuff.
Of course.
All of those things have found a way to get paid. Sometimes I'm like, how are we paying these things? But again, if sometimes I think we just forget. And that was my last, like, let me sit with this for a minute. Cause God, you have really come through year in and year out, month in and month out, day and day, literally day by day, your grace has been sufficient. And I thank you, because I could have been destroyed so many times. And so if I had written that down, it just would have been a saga of the last six years that we've been entrepreneurs.
But that's
so
a blessing, though.
To say, ask. It has been a blessing, and it's a blessing in disguise almost, because there's a struggle part of it. You don't get everything that you necessarily want. It's not immediate. It's not something that's like, we're not millionaires tomorrow. It's not that way. And so I said all that to say the grace that we have to give ourselves not just comes with having, you know, the grace from God. It does, absolutely, but we have to give grace to ourselves. Like, we worked for it, we did it, you know, we're consistently every day doing it. Yes, I get burned out. Yes, I get overwhelmed. Yes, I get tired, exhausted, all the things. But at the same time, there is still a reward, and it's been totally worth it.
Yeah, because you're still showing up. I think that's really
exactly.
You're showing up, you're doing the best that you can, and you're trying to fulfill what you believe that you're called to do. And so when we think about what burnout is, even if it becomes those passion projects or those things that have our purpose attached to it, yes, it can be draining, it can be overwhelming, but always tapping into the place that centers you, which is Christ.
Yeah.
And allowing him to kind of show you, okay, you can back off of this for a second. Let me handle this, because again, just like we talked about, God is the God of provision. So the things that he's already provided for, we don't have to earn anything else. We don't have to add anything to it. He's already provided for it. So he's giving you this passion. He's giving you this purpose. And he said, okay, now I just need you to work this.
Yeah.
And that's that. Like, you don't have to ask for anything else extra outside of it. And I think us having that type of perspective and being open to God being God.
Yeah.
I think that's
hard, because we're controlling people naturally. I think I'm controlling. I like to be my way. I want it to be done a certain way. And if it's not, I feel like I've wasted my time to explain to you how to do it. I could have done it the first time.
That's me. I just feel like I understand myself and what I need.
Yeah. Nobody does better than me. So no matter what it is, it's probably going to be, you know, and I know the areas that I'm not great. And so I would say, no, which is also another level of grace. No, I can't do that. Nope. And I don't even have to explain to you that I don't know or that I haven't learned enough. Just the answer is no.
That's the thing. And I had to get to that, though. I think I had to really, that was what
it takes a while.
It does.
Takes a while.
Because it's,
especially when you have to like tell your husband no. And I'm not talking about in sex or anything biblical. No. I'm talking about, no, I'm not going to cook dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Not doing it.
I mean, Robbie does the majority of the cooking here.
Huh?
Robbie does the majority of the cooking here.
Oh my gosh. So not my husband. No, he has cooked zero. I take that back. When summer comes, he grills a lot. He goes out there and he enjoys to grill. So like, that's his time to shine. So, and probably once or twice a week we get grilled food, which is great.
That's fine.
Because we usually have a pescatarian diet. So grilled fish or grilled shrimp or whatever is like incredible. You say, right. It's like a treat almost, but that's just our normal diet most of the time. So I will give him that. I will, but the rest of the year, will he grill on the stove on the inside? No, he probably can't even cut the.
You gotta be outside.
Yeah. It's the outside situation. He doesn't even drink beer or anything. It's just like, I don't know. That's his domain. I don't know. He enjoys the heat. I don't know.
Y'all, he can
I don't either. I'm not going out there to grill no food.
He can make your food and bring it inside and all is well.
Exactly. I will go out there and help. I'll bring you the tray or whatever it is of the food that I've seasoned
And
because I
skip
still have
right
to
on back
participate.
inside.
You know, when it's ready, I'll be here at the table like you are normally. I give him that. He does grill. He enjoys it. Yeah.
I love it. I think that one thing that I would love for the girls to take away from everything that we're discussing right now is to be transparent with where you are and who you are.
Really, you do. You really have to. And be honest with yourself. Like, it's okay to not want to do something. That's just who you are. Like, let's just be real. The person that found you, if you're in a relationship, even if you're not, and it's like a girlfriend situation, the person that you're friends with or in a relationship with understands you. We often don't give credit to the people that are around us as if I say something is going to be foreign or they're immediately going to be offended. I'm not saying to be rude or any of that, but boundaries are real.
Yes.
Boundaries are in the Bible. Like, that is biblical. You have to do things with certain, you know, perspectives, and you have to do things in order and in decency. And there's a level to it. I have to tell you no sometimes because I'm unavailable. I've had to learn that myself. My husband has had to rein me in, like, Niche, you cannot do 17 things. This area, you need to back off of it. This is taking up so much of your time. Like, come back a little bit. You got to spend time with me. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I do.
Right. You're right.
Without you. Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. We do need to go to the playground with the kids more. Yep, I do that. Because here's the other thing too. It's not like a suffering thing, but I fall into the fact that I love what I do. Yes. I love my job. I love to work. I can sit at the computer or get in my zone, and I'm like looking up, and it's almost midnight. And it's like, oh man, I've been working on this all day. I've been sitting at this computer all day. So I had to learn, like, okay, at 6 o'clock, everything for sure gets cut off at 5:30 or whatever time. Every work, I don't do work anymore. If it can't be done like on the phone through a text or whatever, something quick, I'm not doing it. Because that's really the time that I have to set aside for the kids and for my husband, and even sometimes for myself, which that falls by the wayside too. Yeah, I think we all are like, I'll be fine. I think that's my thing. I'll be fine. Don't worry. I think my mother-in-law even was like, Niche, I'm gonna send you some money for your birthday. Do not pay a bill. He was like, buy something for yourself. And I said, okay. Because in my mind, when she said, I'm about to send you some money,
I know where that's going.
Oh, instantly. Yeah, you know what? I can do $30 over here. I can do $150 over here. I can do $200 here. Perfect. Thank you so much. No, she specifically told me, like, go do something for yourself. Like, don't worry about anybody else right now. This is your birthday. And I was like, you're right.
and was, but this is really important. Just like you said, your tribe knows you, and your tribe is plugged into who you are, and they want to see you succeed too. And so
and they want to help. That's the misconception too. They want to help you.
They want to help. They're designed to help you.
Yeah.
They're
just
designed.
As much as we're designed to help our husbands, because let's be honest. They need it the most.
Woo!
It's girl chat, right? I mean,
it is.
You know what? It's not even girl chat. That's in the Bible. That's what the Bible says.
I'm about to say, let's just put the word out there, because we were created with purpose.
Yeah, I didn't say that. Niche didn't say it. Pedro didn't say it. The Bible says man needed help. That's what it said.
And it was early too, y'all.
In Genesis, in the beginning. He was like, wait.
Bro hadn't had enough time to do much of nothing.
The earth hadn't even been all the way made good. Like, the ocean didn't even get warm in the sun yet.
Guys,
Adam, hold on. Go to sleep right quick. I got one more thing. Because you are confused. What? Maybe you need somebody else, because your brain is not doing enough on its own. 1 second. Rest.
But it's real. So if y'all haven't checked out that story, check it out. There is purpose from the very beginning, and that is also why you should accept the help, like, really. And if you have really plugged into the people that are purposed for you and meant for you, trust them. Like, trust them in the season when they're offering help or they're offering advice. Trust the God in them, right? That they're going to speak to where you are and what you're needing. And a lot of times, some of us have made poor decisions when it comes to friendships or relationships. And so we're wary concerning those who are for us.
Of all our friendships. Yeah. Trust is a huge issue, because you have to side eye people sometimes, because you're like, what is your intent here? Because when I heard that, I didn't feel that. You know, sometimes you can feel attacked, but you're right. Yeah.
But
Let me
I
back
also
up
think
from
that's
it.
why you have to take time to know who you're bringing into your life. You have to pray about it. You can't just be friends with everybody because they're nice or they look good or they sound good or they have other cool friends or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, you really need to pray about those people that you're bringing into your inner circle, not just that you're getting in a relationship with, because quite frankly, your friends are your first set of advisors.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are pouring into you first, not your boyfriend, not your husband. They usually come later. None of us are born with that person, right? So as you grow and you matriculate through who you are and you're evolving, it is really important to tap into who God is calling you to and why. And also to understand some of them are going to be forever and some of them are not. And that's okay. It doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't mean that what they spoke over you, whatever that season was wrong. That was their duration.
Yeah.
Just like
and I think even to say that what fell into me there when you said that essentially was, you know, we think things are forever, but every single thing is temporal. Everything. Not one thing on this earth or anywhere else is forever. Nothing. Your marriage is not forever. You are going to die. Like, everything is temporary. Yes. And so when things don't happen or don't last as long, or, you know, like you said, when and where we anticipate them, it feels bad. We, you know, go into a corner or whatever it is.
Yep.
When really this person was never meant to be permanent. But what is permanent? Marker isn't even permanent. That's it. Like, that there's nothing on this earth that's permanent. And so I think in knowing that and allowing that, like, everything is temporary situation to, you know, resonate with you, then I think a lot of us will be a lot better off knowing that people are just going to fall by the wayside, and that's perfectly okay.
Because some of those people don't want to keep around no way. You just don't want to say it. So just let it be.
Well, I have never had that issue.
I have really great friends. I like amazing.
That's what I'm just saying. I've had people that have essentially had to be dismissed in a way, but they've dismissed themselves. I give people the rope and let them hang themselves and let them stop calling or whatever. That's fine.
That's the same. And I've always done that. But what I'm saying is, I never wanted to call them back and be like, let's try this again. It's never happened. But I think
your birthday? Because when's your birthday? Because maybe that's
February 24th.
Yeah, that's probably why. Mine is January 31st. That's probably why we're that way.
Probably. Yeah.
You're very close to being an Aquarius, so.
And people keep telling me that. I'm like,
you probably just have Aquarius tendencies or something.
You know, let me just give this disclaimer. I'm not a huge astrology person, but when I read
I'm not either.
Right. So before y'all go chattering on social media, that is not what this conversation is. Mind your business.
No.
But I will say that when I read the description for Pisces, I was like, that is really strange. And it's like,
on point.
Yeah. But
I think the knowledge of it is, you know, it's here on this earth for a reason. And someone has developed this strategy that God essentially has, you know, put along here. I don't think we rely on that. No, of course not. We rely on Christ and the word. But knowing that, just like your Enneagram or something like that, it's informational. Like, great, I know that about myself.
1,000%.
Because the truth is, you are born at a certain time. I mean, everyone is born on a day. I am not an astrology
I'm putting
at all. I'm not looking at no horoscope because that doesn't tell me anything about life. I can't rely on that. The crystals and the sound, energy, all that kind of stuff is empty. That's not, you know, when you're injured or you're going through something, you're going to call on the name of the Lord, not on a crystal or not on what your horoscope said or any of that kind of stuff. So that's not what we're talking about. But the point is, you are born at a certain time, and in doing that, those seasons, the way the earth is, you know, personalities and things are different. They just are.
That's very, very true. I will also say that when you were talking about, when I guess I brought up the temporal things and you were kind of expounding on that, I think that it also applies to burnout and some of those projects that we've taken on. And so you're really good at, none of your projects have necessarily been put away, but they have evolved. So they've morphed into other things. But that's also being triggered by, there's a season for sometimes how they're structured and how you're approaching them and how you're putting them out. So we always have to think about that. Like, when you're getting to this place of burnout, or you're feeling like, something's funny, that season of how you're doing it may be up. And honestly, the season for that project may be up. Because some projects I've had to literally put down like, this was for that season. It taught me this, it opened this door, but it's not necessarily for me to take with me.
In the next part. Yeah. And usually again, it's that time where we start feeling like that, like there's something needs to be shifted. There needs to be some creativity that I come up with that can change what I feel right now. And again, we have control over that. You can decide, and knowing yourself again, it's like, what makes me happy? Yeah. What do I enjoy doing? Because I probably need to tap into those things in order to discover how I can be creative in some other way, how I can just get a new idea. And sometimes the Lord won't give you the idea until you get to that place of contentment of like, okay, I am stressed out over here, but you know what? I'm going to go to the beach or whatever, because I need to relax and rest and let it go. And you're going to be sitting there with your feet in the sand and just be like, you know what? I got this great idea on the way. I was asleep and I thought of, this is literally what just happened. We weren't suffering from burnout, but we were just trying to figure out like, what is our next campaign? What is our next step? Where are we going from here, from our sales process? Because everything's in, like you said, in like a season, it goes up and it goes down or whatever. And so we're like, okay, let's start strategizing for summer, because you have to be in advance. And we were like, oh my gosh, here's a great idea. So we had a great idea. I'm so glad this is like April, because I haven't been able to say it. I'm just like teased it on my social media. But again, there's a great example of like when we know our business is in a season of this. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, it's like nothing really is working essentially how we anticipated, but that's not it. That's not like it's not like what I wanted. And it's like, okay, it's not time to quit, but what's next? And then sitting with what's next and then praying for like, okay, well, what do we do now kind of thing? Because this is great, but it wasn't exactly what we thought. Instead of quitting or, leaving it just as it is or trying the same thing over and over again, which is crazy. We're like, what is the next thing? Let me rest on it. Let me think about it. Let me like talk to God about it. And in an instant, it wasn't even a huge prayer. It was like insane. Let me talk about it. Let me pray about it. I got the name of another business. We got the business model. This is all in the same day. Wow. We kept talking about it and ideas just kept coming and coming and coming. We were like, oh my gosh, we had already been prepared for this idea. We practiced it, didn't even realize it. And now that the idea has kind of come full flesh, we're like, oh my gosh, this is it. So I cannot wait for like people to see it and hear it and understand it and like jump into it, because again, that was like not a burnout situation, but like hitting a wall also. Yeah. It's like, what are we gonna do next? And then it came into both of our spirits at the same time, which is crazy.
That's a God thing though.
It is. Here's the second part of that God thing. Shamika told her husband about it a little bit, and he started like rattling off numbers, just figures. And we had already written those same numbers down, the exact same numbers. Cause he was like, oh, I think that would be good at this price. And she was like, you scare me. Like, wait a minute. Cause literally, no joke, no kidding. We had just, again, I told you that one day we were like, I have a whole page of like notes and stuff that we just like kept going and kept writing stuff down. And he was like, that would be good at this price. And you know what? If you get this amount of people, this is a goal I had just said, if you get this amount of people, you get this amount. And she was like, we just had a goal setting session. And that's the number we're trying. That's our goal. Like, oh my gosh. So she was like, that was such confirmation for me. But again, we wouldn't have gotten there if we were like, you know what, we're going to do the same thing over again. Because we would have just easily went into the next season of, let me try this exact same thing over again. No. We had noticed a little dip. So we were like, it's dipping. So it's kind of like hitting a wall when some things or some numbers or some triggers or whatever start to dip in whatever your actual metrics are that you're looking out for. If they dip, it's like, before they plummet, let's figure out what are we going to do next. Let's try to stay ahead of the curve. And so in that moment, it just was like, we have to pivot. And that's where everything started unfolding.
That's huge. And I think it's good. You said, when you see the dip, then you know that you need to kind of revamp and rethink.
Yeah. And the dip again is burnout sometimes. It's hitting a wall sometimes. It's like, I'm not really feeling good about this. Something is like in my spirit about this. And nothing really is wrong.
That's the thing.
But it's also the discernment that something is gonna go wrong or something, will go wrong pretty soon. It's like you have to be in tune again. And if we weren't in alignment, if we weren't doing something that God wanted us to do, we wouldn't even have hit that point of the dip. we would have just kept going consistently if it wasn't that time. So again, back to what you said with the seasons, everything has its own place. Everything has its own time. Everything has its own season. That's true for business. It's true for relationships too.
1,000%. And don't think of your dip as failure.
Oh, it's not. It can't be. What? Because here's my thing about failure. What is it? What? Nobody has firmly been able to tell me what failure actually is. Because when you think about it, it's just disappointment. Disappointment is a totally different word than failure. When you fail at something, you didn't accomplish the average metric or whatever it is. Like if you get an F in something, you were supposed to at least get a C.
Right.
That is deemed as failure, but it's really just a scale of how you performed. So when you fail, essentially, you don't really fail. You know, if you think about the word, you don't really fail. It's a recognition of not getting to the average point or not getting the result that you may have wanted. And if you don't fail, you'll never know what that result is. How do you know what a C is if you don't know what F is?
That's true.
Taking it back to education. If you don't turn in this work, you will get an F. But if you turn in this work, you'll at least get a C. So now you know where the scale is. And then if I don't turn in any of the work, I'm expecting to get an F. I'm expecting to essentially fail, but it's not really failure because you didn't turn in the work.
That's the thing.
You didn't do the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, failure, and that's probably why everything I've ever started is either still going or again has been put aside or whatever, because I don't really see failure. I mean, there are some embarrassing things that have happened. There are some things I wish, not on a regret level, but it's like you got to go through a season of disappointment. You got to go through like, well, that didn't work out essentially, but that's building your character. That's building your stamina in business. Those things are more of a benefit to me than a negative connotation of actually failing at something.
That's true. That's true. I like that. I think it's bring our thoughts under subjection. So we're not allowing these toxic and negative thoughts to kind of direct our paths and what we're doing. Yeah. I think that's good. I'm going to write that one down because I think it's key.
It's a hard concept. That took a couple of years.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's what I'm like, I'm going to write that down. Yeah. So I can kind of sit with that.
Also, you know, for us, at least, we go back to a financial situation. It's a financial failure. Like if I cannot pay this bill, I fail. Not really. Right. If you can't pay the bill, that just means that this month in entrepreneurship, at least, or in business, I didn't hit my goal. Why didn't I hit my goal? How did I do my best? Let's be honest. Did I do my best? Did I spend as much time, or did I, not paying this bill this month mean I spent more time with my children? I'm okay with that. Right. Did it mean I spent more time with my family? I'm okay with that. Did I give somewhere else and this then had to fall by the wayside? That's fine, because again, God provides and the bill will be paid next month. Oh God, a late fee. Don't let.
Right. That's, you know what I mean? That's really good perspective to have.
Yeah. Well, in entrepreneurship, I think you just have to take on the persona of, I'm not going to fail, because what actually is failure but a test? What is it but a point of a new level of understanding your market, your business, your purpose, all of those things. You have to learn those things. You essentially, I don't want to say you have to fail. You don't. Some people skyrocket next day, but I had a quote that I've adopted a long time ago that just said, an overnight success is 10 years in the making.
Yes, it is.
Nobody sees the 10 years they saw you take off overnight, which isn't true. You've been doing this consistently. God's been preparing you in certain ways that you probably didn't even realize, and grooming you. And so in not paying a bill, or in, I don't know, not showing up on time for a recital, you feel like you failed as a parent, or you failed this or that. But the reality is it's just a metric of where you are.
And I think that we have to get to the place where we don't despise the grooming.
It hurts though. Mm-hmm. People don't like pain. Why don't people work out? It hurts. I don't work out because I don't want to be tired, or whatever. I don't want to sweat my hair out. But if we can embrace it, because it's gonna hurt. I mean, it doesn't feel good to not perform, or to not do well, or to not work out, or whatever. Yeah. It doesn't feel good, but you just have to embrace the hurt.
And there's the difference: embracing over despising.
Yeah. Because nobody likes to fail. I mean, you can always despise it. Essentially, I think you can't even look at it with despise, because you're gonna be like, I don't ever want to do this again. But sometimes you're like, not that I want to fail, but I want this to not go well so that I can know what will go well. if it's like a meet even kill, you're not going to learn from that. You're not going to grow exponentially from that.
And
somebody
true.
asked us how we were able to raise our prices in a year. And I said, well, that wasn't enough money for us.
Boom.
As simple
That's
as
pretty
that.
much it, y'all.
That's pretty much it. We took a hard look at, Shamika has to feed 7 people daily. Mm-hmm. I have to feed 4. Mm-hmm. I have a partner. She has a partner also in this, but take all that away. There are 4 people in this house that have to eat. There are 7 people over in her house that have to eat. That's what, 12 people, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people. 11. Mm-hmm. We in our business have to feed daily 11 people. What we were charging before wasn't going to cover it with the time that we have to do this business in these certain hours, because we're still moms and wives and have other businesses. Shamika has ministry and 1,000 other things. I have other things to do too. If the time allotted is not sufficient, it's not, we have to go up.
And that's that. Charge what you're worth, people.
Yeah.
Charge what you're worth.
People don't know how to calculate their worth, I think, too. How do you put a price on like how good you are when you don't believe that you're that good anyway?
That's not biblical.
Nope.
It's just not. I tell people that all the time, like, every time that we doubt ourselves or we think of ourselves as less than, it's a slap to God. God created us in his image. So you're saying that God is less than.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying be ridiculous. I'm not saying charge one person.
No, we're not saying that. But
3.
if you're putting in effort and time and work and creating a quality product,
right,
then yeah.
You have to reap from that.
What do you?
The reality is I don't have to do it. The reality is you're calling me because I can fix it. This is how much it costs.
And
listen, that's not easy to get to a place where you're just like, oh well,
yeah,
how much it is.
Yeah, but it does. It takes time. It takes a reworking of your mind, and it actually takes the consistency that you talked about in the beginning. You have to actually put in the work. Don't have these expectations if you're not putting in the work. Don't do that.
Oh yeah.
Don't.
That's in the word too. Faith without work is dead. You got to have both.
Yeah, you put it together, y'all. Don't just do half and think that it's all.
And sometimes I feel, I don't know if this is in the Bible somewhere or not. Sometimes you got to work harder than you have faith. Sometimes you have to work even though you don't see it. You still got to just show up.
That when he prayed, help my unbelief.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I don't know every word in that Bible. I'm doing my best, but when things fall into me, I just say it. I'm like, I don't know if it's in there, but
hey,
sometimes you just got to work hard.
It's a thing. But that also comes from relationship too. So remember that, as you're building relationship with Christ and you're building relationship with others and you're reading his word, you may not remember all of the words, but what you're taking in is hidden in your heart, and that's what's coming out.
Yeah. Thank you. Exactly. Shamika tells me that all the time. She's like, Michelle, you don't know where it is in the Bible, but it's in there because you
exactly
come up with that on your own. I'm like, I thought I was wise. And she's like, no, you read. You actually read your Bible. So.
Exactly.
That's that.
You are wise in that way. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I try to be discerning with what I say. I used to be way worse and didn't read it and just was a know-it-all, but the Lord has worked with me on that.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Before we go, I want you to share with the girls and I, one thing. I want it to be one thing.
I'm long-winded, so
I love that. Though.
Ask a yes or no question.
I love that. I love that you're long-winded because I am too. But I think that's also how we get the goodie though too.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing that you're doing right now to actively combat burnout, like on a daily basis.
Oh, perfect. Because I literally just started something new.
See?
Yeah, I started something new. Again, I can have it all. We can have it all. We don't have to do it all. So I did a little bit of research on a couple of apps. Mm-hmm. And I know iPhone actually helps you with sleep schedules and all that kind of stuff. But I got an app. It's called Routine.
Okay.
And it helped me. I'm better when I see things written out. Okay. That may be the writer in me, I don't know. But if I can make a plan for something, it reduces my anxiety.
Understood.
If I at least have a list written out, I'll know it'll be out of my head and onto something that I can check off. Okay. And even if I don't struggle with getting everything checked off, I think that's a little OCD. But if I know I'm hitting some marks,
absolutely,
I know I can get better tomorrow. I know I can hit maybe another extra check tomorrow. So the app has an option to have like a morning routine and a night routine, and you can like pick things, you can add things to your routine. Oh, and I have a second thing too. Don't let me forget the second thing to say to this, because I tell my clients to do it. Okay. And so on there, it has sort of a pre-made list of some general things that you may do in a morning routine, some things that you can type in, literally you assign it a color. And so you created your list, you can toggle it to see, you know, what time does it start? Absolutely. Kind of thing, how long, if you want to go that deep, each thing should take. I don't have that. I just have my list set up. And then it essentially notifies you like, hey, it's time to start your morning routine. Very gentle. It's an app. It's not gonna it's no alarm or anything.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But it's called Routines with an S, sorry. Okay. And literally it's a list of things to do. See how it says morning?
Yeah. And it's color coded.
It's color coded by,
I like
here's
that.
The crazy thing, it's color coded by wellness level. So it's okay. Crazy. I love the science behind it. Yeah. Science without me having to think about it. Yeah. So there's de-stress, there's mood, energy, and sleep. I love and so what you tick off attributes, everything goes into a bucket, essentially. It goes to whether you're doing this to de-stress, you're doing this to boost your energy, you're doing this to change your mood or whatever. Yeah. And so for the last couple of days, I have just actively been taking a little time, 5 minutes, and checking some things off, checking the list to see what haven't I done, what can I do now, that kind of thing. I got another thing too. Okay, so I started waking up early. Okay. I wake up at 5:45 in the morning. I have not been waking up, which is what led me to getting an app, because I'm like, I'm not staying accountable to myself. Let me find something that can help me. Mm-hmm. And the enemy kind of threw me off this morning too, because Savannah got sick last night. So, because I was like, I'm getting up tomorrow at 5:45, but now she's home. So we all got to sleep in because nobody's going to school.
Right. That's the thing.
I get on Monday. I didn't get to check that tick off, wake up early on my list. However, the other things on the list, I'm checking off. Same thing with nighttime. And then it asks you a set of questions. Mm-hmm. After you've gotten to a certain point. It's like, check in with yourself right now and see how you're feeling. How was your day? I like that the questions are different. Yes. When I went to bed, the questions are different than when I woke up, because you're different every single time. So I do that. I have an app called Routines. It has a morning routine and a nighttime routine. And at this point, it's only been a couple of days, but I will encourage anybody who feels overwhelmed or struggles with like your brain scattering like that, to do that. Get something that can help you get everything out. The second thing I was gonna say is, and I can't remember, I think I got this from a financial course that I took, who I love. This financial advisor is great for creative businesses. I took her course a long time ago. Give me a second. Go ask Daddy for whatever it is. Okay, just fix it. Okay, well, I'll get it later. Go watch TV in your room. The second thing I tell my clients to do, and what she encouraged us to do, which I have totally adopted, is to write down your ideal day with no time constraints. Okay. On a perfect, in your mind, what is an ideal day? Like, I would love to do these things, even if it's ridiculous. Yeah. And we're not talking about vacations and goals of things to do. When you wake up, what do you want to do today? Wow. You want to, and I mean to the smallest thing. You want to brush your teeth. You want to kiss your husband. You want to have sex. You want to play with the kids. You want to, whatever it is, and write all of those things out, brainstorm it out, not like in a particular order, and then create a schedule. Wow. Which is crazy. It sounds like, what?
But it makes sense though.
It made, as soon as she said it, I was like, oh, why didn't I ever think of this? So I have my clients do that, because we do productivity in our business also. So I have my clients do that so I can look at it. What ideally do you want to do today? Because the reality is you don't have time to do every single thing
at all
the time, every single day. You don't have time for that. Right. And so having your ideal day list will give you a good perspective on, and it'll kind of take your anxiety down about having to complete so many things in one day. There's another quote, because I read a lot, but There's another quote that says, we underestimate how much we can do in a day and overestimate how much we can do in a year. You made all of these plans, but you're doing so much in one day, and you don't have to do that in one day. You can make a year plan, like calm down and like literally schedule it out. So that's the second thing, to have an ideal day list, and then no matter what's on that list, create a schedule for it. And I can show you what mine looks like just briefly.
Yes.
Because I have it on my phone. I have a note on my phone that says, I call it the plan.
I love it.
I'm gonna scroll up to the top, and I have some other things in it. And I literally said the shade in the future, and I wrote by
and it's
time.
Literally like a full out. Yep.
Yeah. All of these things, I would love for my day to go like this. And to be honest, after this, then my day started to look like this.
Wow. It was a mind shift.
It's a mind shift, and it's also a trick to yourself to make yourself happy. Nobody else is responsible for your happiness. So you have to be intentional.
That's it.
You have to be intentional. Like, I want to, I think I had on here, what was some of the other stuff I had on here? Every day I like to wake up in a beautiful home, dress, prepare my kids for the day, drink a coffee, read and write, motivate others, run a team, clean up, listen to music, kiss my husband. And then I scheduled out from 5:30 up until 10:30.
Wow. On
every slot of 30 minutes or whatever I thought would take some time to get some of those things done. Have I gotten every single thing? No.
Right.
It may be a moving target. I may change something on there, because when we added the kids going to after school, I changed my schedule a little bit because I had 2 more hours without the kids. Yeah, instead of make snack at 3:45, now I can make snack or whatever at 5:45, and then make dinner at a different time, all that stuff. So it's a moving target. It's something that moves and shifts. I think the other thing too, and this is more so in business to reduce burnout, is every Sunday night, I sit down and I look at my monthly goals. At the end of the month, I make a plan and a goal for like the next month.
Okay.
So every Sunday night in that month, I look at that goals list, and then I look at like, okay, well, what can I get done this week? And I try very hard not to add more than 3 to 5 things from that list on one day. Because the reality is, you need buffers, you're going to eat, you got to pee, you got to talk on the phone, this person's going to call, you got to look at this bill, you got to go outside, you got to exercise, like things happen, life is life. But on Sunday night, I drag some tasks that I've written out over into an actual schedule, and I put it on my schedule. And I leave time for everything else. But now look at how many things you've gotten done on that list, as opposed to having that full list and just going day to day. You're like, oh my gosh, this whole month went by, I did 3 things.
And I did 3 things.
And you're like, well, I was so busy. No, you were in your mind busy, but you weren't productive. So it's a little bit of a trick to production.
I literally just had a post about that.
Yeah.
Business versus productiveness. It's a thing.
It is a thing. And multitasking is from the devil. Don't do that.
Yep.
Be present, be focused. Yeah.
Because you will get overwhelmed and you will have burnout.
And you will have burnout from that. When you are spinning your wheels and trying to figure every single thing out all the time. Even just yesterday, I was like, because of this new business venture, I was just like, I have a list of like 100 things, and I'm not even joking, that I want to do, that we need to do. And I'm like, where, even me, and after 6 years, I'm still like, where do I start? I know where to start. But my mind in that moment was like,
it's too much.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down, make my plan for April, and actually write out, here are the things that we need to do, and go day by day.
I love that. I love that. And it's practical. What you're sharing with us is practical, and something that each of us can kind of put into
practice. And it's tangible. You can touch that. You can touch pen, you can touch paper, you can touch your phone, get that stuff out of your head, really.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So I'm thankful for you spending some time with us at Girl Chat. It has been amazing. You have shared all the goodie, but most importantly, I think that you've shared the love of Christ with us and how you've kind of implemented that in your regular life, right?
Yeah.
Not some highfalutin idea. This is your everyday.
Oh, no,
this is what I do.
He's alive.
That.
I treat him just like he's right over there.
That part. It's that for me. Yeah. It's that for me. But I want you to share with the girls how they can connect with you, follow you, figure out about your businesses, all that stuff. So give us that kind of information before we go.
Okay, perfect. So my 9 to 5, essentially what I call it, is a business that I own. It's called the Caldwell Creative, and that is the Instagram, that's our Facebook, and it's also my email. So Niche at thecaldwellcreative.com. You can follow us on Instagram. We're usually over there more than any other place. You can follow us, you can comment, tag, certainly DM us. My personal Instagram is just Niche Caldwell. And on Instagram, that's also my email, Niche Caldwell at Yahoo. So if you want to just personally email me, but go ahead and DM, you can always find us there. Our website is thecaldwellcreative.com. And then our new business venture, I can confirm it now because we've got some things solidified. Oh, nobody knows what that is. So the Caldwell Creative.
Right.
Sorry. It's a creative concierge service mainly for pro athletes, wives, and creatives, but we help all entrepreneurs. Our target is pro athletes, wives, because that's who we are. And that's our community of women that we've been privileged enough to support and provide services for the last 2.5, we're going into 3 years this April, actually.
Wow.
And so that's the core of our business. We do systems development, branding, and web design because everything has to coexist. It's very difficult when you get a branding designer, when you get a web designer, when you get somebody to do your systems, or you're trying to figure it out, to connect all of the dots to make it make sense. And so we hone our entrepreneurs and our creatives in and try to streamline the process and make sure that productivity, branding, and design coexist and make sense for you and your business so you can enjoy the money that you actually make. So that's the Caldwell Creative, our newest business venture. Woo!
I know, that's exciting.
We have a wait list up. Today I'm actually gonna I'm excited because I get to do a new website. I get to do like all the fun, pretty stuff because we got the business part of it kind of solidified. So anyway, it's called the Wagspreneur Co. We're going to trademark it. It's the Wagspreneur Company. And what it's going to be is an online members only social club, but also an entrepreneurs club for WAGs, for wives and girlfriends of sportsmen. There is no place right now currently, social wise and even entrepreneurship wise, for women of the NFL, women of the NBA. It's surprising. There is no place online for us to have community, for us to collaborate, for us to experience each other without the competition, without looking crazy and feeling rejection on game days. The biggest thing that I think Shamika and I both faced hugely was rejection from other women who seem to be nice over there. You're so sweet to those people, those women over here, but I'm sitting here by myself. It's very difficult to make those introductions. And so we want to kind of tear down that wall of rejection and get us all in community. All of us are in, on a whim in a different city, sometimes overnight. You don't know where to stay. You don't know anybody to talk to. You don't know who is who, essentially. And from the star of the team to somebody that's on the practice squad in any league, it's very difficult for women to be in community together. And so we want to create that online and become a resource for WAGs and entrepreneurs, because we're also creatives, we're also business women. And so that is officially going to kick off June 1st, but right now we're on a wait list. So eventually you'll be able to go to the wagspreneurco.com, WAGS, and then preneurco.com, and join the wait list if you are a wife or girlfriend of a sports star.
That's incredible, amazing, and I'm excited.
I'm excited about that.
That's going to be a blessing to the women.
Totally different. It's so different because I struggled a long time with the identity of that. Wow. But it's reality. It's just nothing I can do about it. I can't change the past. I can't change who we've become. And I think WAGs has such a negative connotation that we need to change that. We need to redefine what it means and the perspective that people have of us. And if they continue with their own stereotypes, that's fine. But I think it needs to be a public service announcement, essentially, that these women aren't spoiled. We're human, we struggle. We have loneliness. We are typically 12 hours a day by ourselves in our own homes. And so sometimes that can be very difficult. And 80% of marriages that to professional men in the league fail when they're done with their sport. And so why is that? There's an identity attached to being in this professional sport, and then having that identity of being a wife of somebody in that professional sport. And when that's over, you lose who are you and what do you do? And so we're working very hard to get featured wags every month who are doing it successfully, who, much like I said, the relationship coach that is also our client, we're going to try to pull her in also, and talk to these women, and so that you're not by yourself. So the Waxpreneur Code is coming. The wait list is going to be up. I'm sure by the time this podcast is released, it will be up, because I'm going to work on it.
I'm excited.
You'll see it. You can follow the Waxpreneur Code on Instagram.
There you go. That's what I was waiting.
Okay. We already got it. Yeah.
Perfect. So guys, thank you for joining Niche and I for this month's Girl Chat. It was amazing, as I'm sure that you all can attest. Yes, all the energy, all the goodie. It was just perfect. So thank you again for joining us. I can't wait to see you next month. Remember, we meet every first Saturday of the month, and who I have coming for May. Yeah, I think you're going to really enjoy this person. So again, thank you, Niche, for joining us. You're amazing.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.